Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Scorpio is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider hitting the subscribe button, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Scorpio, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the Six of Cups. You are someone who is sort of, well, you might be a little bit nostalgic for the past right now. Okay, sometimes this is a card of remembering the better days, right? Remembering when life was good, remembering when I felt better, remembering when I had those things in my life that made me feel good, you know? I think this is kind of a card that says we can have that now. This is a card of connections. This is a card of community. This is not saying that, oh, you're the person that wants to have a lot of friends and just be the center of attention. No, you're still Scorpio, right? You have your own version of this. You have your own version of needing connections, needing intimacy, needing love, needing support, needing to have hobbies, needing to feel like you've got your soul tribe. Even if your soul tribe is your cats at home, you know, your pets, your plants, and or your people. This is that harmonious life. This is kind of a life that says, it doesn't matter what storms come, we can get through this. To me, this is the card of we're all in this together. You know, no one is an island, not even you. Even though sometimes it may feel like that. Okay. Let's put this card into a little bit of context. Let's see what we are in need of, and let's see what we are encountering. See, now we got that Fool energy. Oh, that's very nice. I like that. We have an Eight of Pentacles. We have a Knight of Pentacles. The Five of Swords. Okay. And look at that, a Queen of Pentacles too. The Knight is looking forward, the Queen is looking backwards. They're meeting in the middle. We realize that everything we do, every thought, word, and deed in the present moment is creating our future self. This is your future self. This is the idea of karma, right? Your past is creating your future, and the present is the only thing that we really can do. This is the only thing that we know. We can look back at the past and we can think, am I where I thought I would be? We can look at the future and think, where am I going to be? But it all depends on what we do right now. What we did in the past has created our life right here in the present. What we do in the present is creating who we're going to be tomorrow, right? And they're both kind of looking at the Fool, right? The present moment is kind of the child of the past and the future, if you will. Here we have a Three, see? Three of Cups, right? You're half of the Six, right? You're bringing this to the table, and the universe is meeting you, and there's a connection. There are 3 plus the 3. And we get that 6. Like you're finding your soul tribe right now, okay? And you might be using humor, you know? I think the Fool is really an awesome card. I feel that there's some kind of a joke about eyeglasses or something. Not mine. Something about yours. I don't know if it was like your first pair of glasses, or like you got a silly pair of glasses, or like it was the first kind of, I don't know, maybe it was the first bifocals or the first reading glasses that you ever got, or something like that. There's something kind of funny about a pair of glasses for you, right? Anyway, the final card here, Nine of Swords, whammy, right? Well, not necessarily, okay? Not necessarily, because we're having this kind of nostalgic time with this, and this might be saying like, yeah, the better days maybe were behind us, or you know, I don't know what's preventing me from really having the life that I want. I think it's nothing. nothing is. I think the Nine of Swords at the end, right now, this is probably the best card. This is that painful truth. This is the realization that, hey, I want friends and family. I want to find my soul tribe, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be miserable over it. I don't have to wonder why I'm not sleeping at night. I know why. I don't have to wonder why I wake up in a cold sweat with my head in my hand. I know what it is. And once we know what it is, then we have this Fool energy and we're free of it. You know? In a way, this could be your present moment. Right now, we could be this Nine of Swords and we could be thinking, my life's not what I wanted it to be. I don't feel like I've become who I thought I'd become. I don't feel like I am where I thought I should be by now. And I don't feel the love. I don't feel the connection. I feel like something's missing from life. And I'm asking these questions and I can't figure out the answer. And woe is me, I feel this despair. I'm not sleeping at night. And we might be looking back at a time in our life where we had hope, where we were fresh-faced, right? And we were not wearing our glasses. Where we were just kind of free. And we were this Fool energy, and we were having fun, and we were laughing, and we were just kind of wandering around in life, and we didn't have the burdens that we have now. So we're sort of we're nostalgic for this past where we felt like there were better days. Our better days were behind us, right? But maybe if we realize what these cards really are, then we can say, hey, that's taking me through this shadow, this curtain of pain and despair, and I realize I can have all this stuff now. My better days weren't behind me. That's silly. I maybe should look back at the past and understand what was it about those days that were better. I had more humor. I wasn't so worn down by life. Maybe it was maybe I had friends. Maybe I was involved in things. Maybe I had hobbies and all those things we said at the beginning, right? So I think the Nine of Swords is us realizing what we need in life. And we can transform this Nine of Swords into a Nine of Cups. Okay? It is possible. And, well, maybe the mystery card. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot, the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right there with our very own Kelly Kapoor right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together, and it will give us the confirmation at the end. Now, if you have a prediction for that card at any point during the reading, please put it in the comments, okay? Let's use our intuition. Now, the only major arcana card we have as we look around the room is the Fool itself. The Fool is the way. Returning to that state of innocence, right? Working through our shadow. Okay, do we feel, is there a guilt, is there a shame, are there unconscious complexes? What is it what do we have to go through that's preventing us from having all of this? This is good stuff here. This is all really, really good stuff. This is pleasure. This is abundance. This is victory. This is absolute love, the source of connection with spirit. This is patience, and this is growth and harmony. And you've got really good cards here, Scorpio. These two are kind of us asking the question, why don't I feel good? What is going on? Why am I not sleeping at night? This is, sometimes the Nine of Swords is us just not sleeping at night. Feel miserable every day. Bleh. Okay, that's as far as it goes. The Five of Swords is us asking the questions, why is that? Let's get to the bottom of it. Because here we're just feeling miserable, right? And we don't even try to think about it. It's like we've resigned ourselves to just being, better days were behind me, and just I'm an old slug now, and that's it. We're returning to the folly of youth, the zest and love for life of this Fool energy. And I think we need an I Ching hexagram, don't you? Anytime we get the Fool, especially when it's the only major arcana card in the pack, we're going to do an I Ching hexagram. That's a new rule. I just made that up right now. We're going to do an I Ching hexagram for you because of that Fool. What is the Fool trying to say to us? Right? Let's see. 15, integrity. Creates success. A noble one completes it. Okay? To have integrity is to be at one with yourself and with reality. Okay, so right away we've got the connection between us and external world, internal, external. Okay, we realize that our growth means that we're going to find our people, we're going to connect spiritually and emotionally. We're going to find our tribe. I think that's a big part of what this really is. The integrity of the six, right? It's a solid structure. It's a wholeness. That's what we're missing right now, right? So that's giving us a direction. And I think that the last couple of readings for you, Scorpio, I think that I'd probably mentioned, you're looking for some people. You're looking for connections. A lot of you in the comments said, what? No, Scorpio? I think it's true. It's a theme that's emerging. Okay. I think there's something to this. This idea of realizing what we need to get through that curtain of despair. But sometimes there's value in despair, and if we are able to look at it, a lot of the time you don't want to look at it. This is my old favorite analogy. You stub your toe hurts, throbbing pain in your toe, but you don't want to look at it. It's just, it hurts. It hurts. The worst pain I've ever felt. Well, I guess that's my life now. But the 5 is saying, okay, I'm going to look at the toe, and we sort of peek. We hide our eyes. We peek at it. We don't want to look at it. The only way we're going to heal it is if we look. Maybe this is some long-term pain that we've been carrying. Okay? We have to listen to what this is telling us. This is a psycho-spiritual pain. Integrity. Being honest about your capacities, not exaggerating the importance of your role, not caught up in a personal story or identifying work with worth. You are free to do what needs to be done. What is the simple reality? How might you return to a state of balance? 6 is, right, the balance. And what if it all didn't all depend on you? Okay? You're free to do what needs to be done. You're not caught up in a personal story or identifying work with worth. Well, what if this is work and worth, What if this is the idea that your past is looking at you and saying, oh, you didn't become who we thought you'd become, and your future's looking at you and saying, oh gosh, you're not doing anything right in life, right? What if this is the voices of our family, our parents, or our caregivers, the people who raised us, right? I was talking about parental stuff on a previous reading. I don't know that it was for Scorpio, and somebody left a comment and said, what? We're adults here. We don't have parents. I said, what? I didn't respond to that comment yet. I'm not sure how to respond to that. It doesn't matter how old you are. And in fact, the older we get, the more we forget that we're still hearing the voice of our caregivers, whoever raised us, our guardians, parents, whatever. We're still hearing that voice in our head every day. It's become a complex now. Your parents may be long gone, but you still got that voice in your head from them, right? And whatever the origin of this stuff is, this really could be that sort of idea here that we're caught up in this personal story, perhaps with the past card. So let's put our integrity here, because that integrity is saying that I want to make sure that I'm not falling apart. I want to bring myself back to a state of wholeness, integrity, right? Structural integrity. It doesn't mean doing the right thing, unless that right thing is like, I'm going to make myself whole so I can be stable and robust and expansive and giving and generous and loving and have a richness of life, So anyway. We got a little bit of fire. We've got our water. We've got our air and our air. We've got a little bit of earth here. You're kind of surrounded in this earth situation. Okay. Let's look at the past, because this is the Knight of Pentacles. This is the card that is looking at the future and thinking, who do I want to be? Where do I want to be? What do I want to be doing long term? Who do I want to become, right? And maybe this is the voice of some complex in your head that is saying, like, the reason why we are in this state of despair now is because we don't feel as if we became who we were expected to become. Right? This is some energy perhaps from the past that is saying, hey, you didn't fulfill your potential. You didn't become in that material way. You didn't become that successful person that you were that you were supposed to. So this is almost like we can hear our Father in the back of our head saying, get back to work, you're a failure. Or, hopefully your parents didn't say these things to you. And maybe they did, maybe they didn't. The thing is, we may hear them say that even if they never did. Our memories, the complexes we have, we think that it's an exact verbatim repetition of something, but it's not. It could be that one day something happened and your parents said, well, hey, you got to work hard in life, right? You got to make something of yourself, yeah? And then as we get older, we start to hear that as, you're a failure, you suck, you're not good at anything. It's distorted. That's my point. I don't know your parents at all. I don't know if you have, even if you have parents. The card that looks into the future is in the background, right? This is in the past. So I feel like whatever's going on now, there's this feeling or expectation that you should have been somewhere else. Okay, that you didn't quite make it on whatever this path was. And I think that's a shadow aspect that we've got to let go of. That's some of this curtain of despair that we've got to get away from. And the same thing about looking into the future and seeing our future self looking back at us. And this is kind of wagging the finger at us too. This is saying you better whip yourself into shape because I want to exist. Your future self, right, is saying, I want you to make good choices now so that, I can become this person. So it's almost like we're kind of being poked and prodded by the past, and we're being taunted by the future as well. Haunted by the past, right? Taunted by the future. Haunted and taunted. And the fool just wants to be free of all of that. Maybe doesn't want to do this. Maybe there was this expectation that you put on yourself or from parents or from whatever, that your life was going to be a certain way. And the fool is perhaps realizing that my life didn't go that way, and I shouldn't feel bad about that. Maybe you went in your own direction. Maybe you are this wandering fool that went off and had your own adventure. Maybe you chose your own adventure in life. Maybe the Pentacles here was the way that you were expected to grow. Right? And you're still kind of in the grips of this. And that Eight of Pentacles underneath, this is the patience that you need to have with yourself. This is self-care. This is love. This is, positive, healthy habits. Let's focus on nutrition. Let's focus on intentional movement. Let's make sure we get enough sleep. Okay? That's kind of a basic deal there, right, for self-care. I think when we connect this card with what could be a mom and dad energy, but if anything, it's the voice from our past and the voice from our future, that we were expected to grow in this certain way. And maybe we feel that we've underachieved. And that'd be a Nine of Swords. We feel as if we let somebody down. We feel as if we did not fulfill our potential. We didn't grow in the way that we were supposed to. Okay? And there might be guilt or shame or regret or any number of things, right, that are that we're feeling because of that. But the Fool is free. The Fool is working to release themselves from all of that. Kind of wiping the slate clean. And I think if we recognize what that is and where it comes from, if we are able to look at it, it diminishes in its intensity. As soon as you shine a light on something like that, it loses a little bit of power. Okay? Maybe there's a fear of new opportunities. Maybe there's a fear of being creative. There's a fear of kind of going your own way. There's a fear of breaking away from the voice of mom and dad, so to speak, whether it is or not, breaking away from that voice and doing your own life, figuring out your own path. I don't have to do what was expected of me or even what I thought was going to be my life. And now to find out, this was the path that maybe we set it up for ourselves. We thought this was going to be the way, but now we find something different. If we did not have this card, right? If we did not have that card there, or this one even, right? If we got rid of that issue, we have somebody that saw a future, and they're They're living it. They're following their own path. And who they are creating in the future, their future self, is a result of all the decisions you're making right now in the present. The problem is with the air energies that we don't feel like we're making the right decisions. Why? Who's telling you that? Who's telling you that what you're doing isn't what you were supposed to do in life? Well, it's our shadow, right? It is our unconscious complexes. It is it's the complex in you that's trying to prevent you from disappointing someone. And that gives us the feeling like, I'm not doing the right thing. I feel guilty. Somebody's mad at me for this, or somebody's disappointed, or whatever it might be. Okay. I wonder if this fool here is sort of realizing now that you got to take up your own kind of hobbies, right? Like it's never too late to just be reborn and just start doing things that feel like they resonate with you. Pick up that new hobby, right? Go learn Italian, go start painting or whatever. It's never too late to start wandering and exploring in life, to find out what we resonate with, to find our people, to find our tribe, even if it's a tribe of one, even if it's just a bunch of pets, but to find what really feels good for us and get out of this sort of the expectation, the cradle right here, right? And maybe that's what it is. Okay. I think with the Five of Swords, there's an anxiety attached to uncertainty, right? Or not knowing what's coming next, not having the answers. This was a very predictable path, wherever it came from, whatever its origin. This was a very predictable path. It should have been very straightforward. This is kind of like saying, well, if I go my own way and I do my own things, yeah, I'm going to feel like I'm in more harmony with my soul, but I'm still going to be confused. I don't know what's going to come next. I don't know if I'm going to win or lose, if I'm going to fail or succeed. I don't know if I'm going to find my people. I don't know if I'm going to find my path. A great many of us just decide to go along with whatever path has been written for us, whatever story has been assigned to us by parents, family, culture, whatever, right? And it's become so ingrained in us that it does activate that shadow complex anytime we start to have a little... We start to feel like we're straying from that. We feel like, I'm doing something wrong. I better get back. Yeah, and it all comes down to the kid doesn't want to disappoint mom and dad. And it doesn't matter how old we are. This is the card of a little bit of confusion, but at least we're looking at it. We're thinking about it. And I think instead of getting down on ourselves and having a negative dialogue with ourselves, we need to turn this card around. Well, one, we need to focus that card on what this pain really is, why it is, whatever you want to call it. Maybe we're having a difficult time identifying, labeling that pain. What is it even that I feel, right? And we don't really need to do that. But this card, see, we could flip it upside down. We could put Spirit back on top. We can let Spirit take the wheel. We can start with positive dialogue, positive affirmations. Let's do a Language of Flowers affirmation card. Enthusiasm. The best can be here. We've got to believe that it's possible. Right? The Five of Swords like this is you believing something. When the Five is this way, this is when we don't believe it's possible for us. Okay? I think part of the shadow work for you right now is to accept all of our past choices and integrate the lessons, right? But without condemnation, without getting down on ourselves, without the guilt or the shame, and realizing that your life is yours and you can choose your own adventure. And if your path is taking you away from what the expected sort of flow was, right? That is your decision to make. And what we need to do is ask ourselves, we need to shine a light on this and shine a light on what we want to be able to see, what is it that I need to connect with? What do I need to harmonize with? It could be that you're a square peg trying to fit yourself into a round hole and it doesn't work. And the Fool might be saying, go and live your own life. Maybe this Nine of Swords is the feeling like, I don't know why I'm miserable. Maybe you're miserable because you feel like you're stuck in this life here, but this is not, so you're cradled here by the earth energy. And maybe the pain is that the Fool doesn't want to be here anymore, doesn't want to be on this trajectory any longer. Maybe the Fool wants to transcend, wants to do something ridiculous, right? Wants to go have their own adventure. So the Nine of Swords could be the feeling like, I've been conforming to that life for too long. I need to go have my own. I need to do something different. I need to find what resonates with me. You got to find your Six of Cups. You got the half right here. We got to find the other half. Okay? Now let's talk about the path of the serpent. Let's talk about the Three of Cups. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. The readings are totally free. The Three of Cups is the abundance that you feel inside of you. This is who, if you strip away all of the criticism, all of the complexes, all of the voice of mom and dad and all that stuff, this is who you feel you really are. This is what's inside of you that wants to come out. And this is a card that is saying, like, we've got to share our gift to the world. We've got to put ourselves out there and connect with what is meant for us by being ourselves. This is a kind of a question of integrity and authenticity. Being authentically you, not trying to be the one who is putting on the suit and tie and doing this kind of corporate gig. No, you're the creative person, right? So it might be that we're kind of, we're realizing that I can't force myself to be something I'm not, right? You're a round fool trying to fit yourself into a square hole here, okay? This might be the idea of like, let's dust off some old hobbies and find some joy, find out what we really love. Let's return to all those things that we want to do, especially like that inner child thing, like let's ride a bike, you know. Let's dig in the sand. Let's build a sand castle, right? Let's run through the sprinklers. Let's have that kind of joy, and we'll remember what it feels like. Yeah, because like I said at the beginning with the Six of Cups, it may be that our better days were behind us. Back then, when I could just be free, I could run through the sprinklers. Now I got this life that I can't get away from, and I don't know why I feel miserable. Let's go run through the sprinkler and ride a bike. Then we'll realize what we're missing, you know? It's not the sprinkler, it's not the bike. It's that feeling. It's that feeling of connecting with yourself and connecting with the world. And this is that drive inside of you. You want that. This is that part of your soul that wants that expression, right? Now, the running through the sprinklers and the riding of the bike, it doesn't matter what that activity is. Okay? But the muscle memory, right, will bring back a flood of memories and a unique bridge between your past and your present joy. It's connecting us. Well, it felt good when I was doing that as a kid. Oh, it feels good now, and now I remember what that feels like. And now I know that I got to go and I got to seek that now. I can't go back to the same thing. I can't just run through the sprinklers and think, well, my life's fixed now, right? If it were only that simple. But we're going out and we're finding what we really truly need to connect with that's going to give us that feeling. I'm not saying you got to leave your job. I'm not saying that your career, you need to abandon it or whatever, or your family. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying we have to get back, we have to get through the complexes and get back to ourselves so that we know what things we do want and we do need. I think there are wounds from the past that we need to confront. I think that there may be a fear of sort of taking risks or stepping into the unknown. Okay, because I feel like there are people wagging their fingers at you saying, no, you do what you're told. This is the child and these are the parents, you see. It doesn't mean that is literally the situation, but it has that energy to it, okay? The Six of Wands here, I think, is it's a victory. Stepping out of the old and into the new feels like a win. You know, and it feels like we have grown in confidence. Now the Fool is standing a little bit more upright because it's starting to realize its integrity. Okay, this is starting to realize that we're capable of directing our own lives. That I can be myself. right? And this is, I think, going through this process, we're learning a lot about ourselves. This is a card that says it's through the challenges of our lives, the struggles up here, right? That's where we really learn who we are and what we're capable of. Okay? Some of the things here that I'm feeling with the Fool and the Six of Cups is our delight, right? That we're taking delight in the small pleasures that maybe the things we never really were allowed to enjoy as a kid, maybe, right? Maybe this is like we're enjoying the flowers, we're enjoying like the perfectly steeped cup of tea. We're finding some daily small things that we can enjoy and feeling those moments of delight that maybe were denied to us when we were kids. I'm not saying that you wanted to drink tea when you were a kid. Just as you're an adult, you don't necessarily want to run through the sprinklers. But it's that connection with that feeling of joy and delight. Okay? And the transcendence of our present state of affairs, all of this earthy energy down here. It's so heavy, right? It's so heavy and so mundane. I think the Fool just wants to connect with something more meaningful and deeper than this. Or higher, maybe we should say, right? I think the Six is also about you finding the right people in your life, the right team, the right kind of support, having the right energy around you. We're the average of the people we surround ourselves with, right? So you surround yourself with a lot of very fun, playful, creative people with strong senses of humor, and we kind of take on those qualities too. So again, it's about finding out who you are and what you want, finding out what you're going to resonate with, and then going and doing that. Making those connections, you know? And I think meditate and journal. Okay? Write everything down. I think you have a tendency right now to be a little nostalgic. And I think we need to transform that into present things that we can do right now to make those kinds of connections, so that we're not living in the past, so that we're not thinking all the joy, all the good old days were behind me, you know? And then there's just kind of a sorrow when we think about those good old days, right? The Ace of Cups is the difficulty, because maybe we don't really know what we like. Maybe we've never really been allowed to just radiate our love and to be honest with what we feel and what we want and what we don't want, right? Maybe we're having a difficult time just getting out of the mud, getting out of the very heavy inertia of the earth energy and getting light and active, right? The Fool is kind of the smoke rising off the incense stick. And it's just getting away from these a little bit. And again, it doesn't mean that you're leaving your job or leaving your family, but it does mean that energetically you're transcending that sort of base reality for a moment at least, and experiencing that deeper or higher delight. Okay, you're finding the Ace of Cups. You're finding kind of that source of love and joy in you. Okay, there's a tattoo you have that is in some way is a reminder of this type of energy for you. Like there's a tattoo that represents, I don't know, some kind of an aspiration or a wish or a drive or a goal or a real love that you have. You know, it's almost a nostalgic tattoo. Right? I don't know what that is. But the Nine of Swords reminds us of the value of despair. Reminds us that we need to go through that curtain to get what's on the other side, and the other side of that is the Nine of Cups. Okay? Well, let's check the mystery card. Let's see what we've got. Here. I'm still getting some reference to painting or art or some kind of a creative effort that maybe was discouraged in you when you were a kid. Maybe you weren't really allowed to do that, or maybe you weren't really when you were growing up, you weren't encouraged to be yourself. You weren't encouraged to express your feelings. Maybe there were aspects of your personality that were starting to blossom, were kind of repressed, were discouraged. Okay. So obviously, Nine of Cups, right? Let's see what we have. A Three of Swords. Three of Swords. We've got to get over those unconscious complexes. We've got to get over that tendency to not feel like we are worth it, right? This is a card that's kind of resigned itself to sorrow, just saying, the world is suffering, que sera, sera, good days are behind me, it's all downhill from here. Yeah, we've got to do something about that, because that's not your voice. That's your complex speaking. That's your complex that has a fear of disappointing, a fear of failure, a fear of the unknown, or whatever, fear of uncertainty. We've got to get back. We've got to overcome this. We need to turn this into this, so we can turn the 9 of swords into the 9 of cups, right? We got to turn all the swords into cups is what we got to do. But this, I think, is, this is kind of where we're at. But I think that this card also holds a key. This is a card of understanding. I understand the process of creation on the mental plane. I understand why I feel the way I feel. I understand where it came from and how it was created. And that's the first step towards saying, I understand something now, I can change it. I know how it works, so now I can do something about it. Right? And that's, again, kind of with our 9 of swords. We need to look at it and address it so we can figure out how to heal it, how to transcend it, how to move beyond it, how to take some of the power away from those complexes and put that energy toward the Fool, toward play, toward love, toward connection, toward intimacy, toward community. Right? I think this is maybe an intense reading, but I think it's very necessary for us. Now we're going to do an extended reading as well. We're going to do an I Ching hexagram again. We're going to do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner, and there's a link down below. New readings for Scorpio on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. The readings are totally free. Leave a comment and let me know how you're doing, and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.